The morning sun rose over the red earth of Yumuk village, painting the thatched roofs in gold. The air carried the smell of roasted yam and wood smoke, and birds sang from the tall palm trees. It was supposed to be a normal day, but for Amarachi, the only daughter of Matsi Okafor, nothing would ever be normal again. Amarachi sat outside her mother's hut, weaving palm fronds into a mat. She was tall, with skin the color of ripe udala fruit and eyes that carried both gentleness and fire. Every young man in Yumuk whispered her name when they gathered under the moonlight. They admired her beauty, but Amarachi's heart was already tied to one man, Obinna, the son of a poor palm wine tapper. Their love had grown in secret. Obinna had no land, no wealth, and no title. Yet he had the kind of heart that made Amarachi's world shine brighter. He would wait for her at the stream, carrying her water pot, and their laughter would echo across the hills. But Amarachi knew her father would never allow her to marry him. Matsi Okafor was a proud man, respected among the elders. He believed a daughter was a priceless jewel, and her bride price must reflect the honor of the family. Already, rich suitors had come with kola nuts, goats, and bags of money. Among them was Chief Nnanna, a man old enough to be Amarachi's father. He had 3 wives already, but he wanted a 4th, and he wanted Amarachi. The pressure weighed heavily on Amarachi. Each night, she cried silently on her raffia mat. How could she betray her heart for tradition? How could she leave Obinna, the man who made her feel alive? That morning, as she sat weaving, Obinna appeared at the edge of the compound. He looked restless, his wrapper tied carelessly around his waist. His eyes searched hers with urgency. "Amara," he whispered, using the name only he called her. "Come with me. I need to speak with you." She hesitated, glancing toward the barn where her father and uncles were gathered, discussing yam harvests. If they saw her with Obinna, trouble would fall like thunder. Still, her heart pulled her to him. She dropped the palm fronds and followed. They walked quickly toward the stream, the path covered with dry leaves that crunched under their feet. When they reached the water, Obinna turned, his face pale. "They want to give you to Chief Nnanna," he said. "I heard it from my father. He said the bride price he offered is more than anyone in the village has ever seen. Bags of cowries, 10 fat goats, crates of palm oil. Your father will not refuse." Amarachi's chest tightened. The fear she had carried silently was now spoken aloud. She sat on a rock, her hands trembling. "What will I do, Obinna?" she asked, her voice breaking. "I cannot marry him. He is older than my father. I love you, but my father will never accept." Obinna knelt before her, his hand gripping hers. "Then we must fight. Love is not something to be sold, like yam in the market. If we keep silent, they will take you away from me." Tears filled her eyes. She wanted to believe him, but how could a poor man fight the weight of tradition and wealth? At that moment, a voice boomed behind them. "So this is where you hide, Amarachi." They turned to see Matsi Okafor standing at the edge of the stream, his staff in hand, his eyes burning with anger. He had followed them silently. The world seemed to freeze. Amarachi's heart pounded in her ears. Obinna stood quickly, bowing his head in respect, but Matsi Okafor's gaze was full of fire. "You shame me, Amarachi," he thundered. "A daughter of my house, stooping so low as to waste time with a poor palm wine tapper. Do you not know your worth? Do you not know the value of your bride price?" Amarachi fell to her knees, tears streaming. "Papa, please, it is Obinna I love. I beg you." "Silence," her father barked. "Love does not fill a barn. Love does not buy goats or land. A man must prove his worth before he takes a wife. And this boy has nothing." Obinna clenched his fists but remained silent. He knew to challenge Matsi Okafor meant trouble for his entire family. Matsi Okafor turned, his voice heavy with finality. "Prepare yourself, Amarachi. Tonight, Chief Nnanna's people will come with the first bride price items. You will be his wife, whether you like it or not." He walked away, leaving Amarachi broken. Obinna helped her up, his jaw tight. "We cannot give up," he whispered. Even if your father sells you, I will not let you go without a fight. Amarachi, you are mine, and I will prove it. Amarachi clung to him, but deep inside, fear gnawed at her soul. In Igbo land, a father's word was law, and when the bride price was paid, a woman's fate was sealed. That night, the moon shone over Yumuk, but in Amarachi's heart, darkness reigned. The sound of drums echoed from Chief Nnanna's compound, announcing his celebration. Amarachi lay awake, tears wetting her pillow. For the first time, she realized the true meaning of her people's saying, "The bride price is not just a gift, it is a chain." And Amarachi knew that her tears had only just begun. The rooster crowed long before dawn, but Amarachi could not find sleep. Her eyes were swollen from crying, and her body felt heavy as though she carried the weight of the whole village on her shoulders. The news of Chief Nnanna's visit had spread quickly. By morning, neighbors were already arriving, curious to witness the first step of a marriage that promised to be the talk of Yumuk for generations. The compound of Matsi, Okafor bustled with life. Women pounded yam in large mortars, the rhythmic thud echoing across the village. The aroma of pepper soup simmering in clay pots filled the air. Men gathered under the Udala tree, drinking palm wine and discussing the honor that was about to be bestowed upon the Okafor family. But inside the small hut at the edge of the compound, Amarachi sat like a prisoner awaiting judgment. Her mother, Mama Ifeoma, moved around her quietly, adjusting her wrapper, tying her hair with a red scarf. She avoided Amarachi's eyes, her silence heavy. "Mama," Amarachi finally whispered, "do you agree with Papa? Do you want me to marry Chief Nnanna?" Mama Ifeoma paused, her hands trembling. She sat beside her daughter and held her hand gently. "My child, a mother's heart is never at peace when her daughter is unhappy. But you know your father. His word is like the Irako tree, firm, unshakable. If I speak against him, it will bring more fire into this house." Tears spilled down Amarachi's cheeks. "But Mama, you know I love Obinna. He may be poor, but his heart is rich." Her mother's eyes softened with pain. "Love is sweet, Amarachi, but hunger is bitter. A man with wealth can feed you and your children. A man with nothing will only give you love, and sometimes, love does not cook soup." Amarachi turned away, her heart torn between her mother's words and the truth she carried in her soul. By mid-morning, the sound of drums rolled through the village. Chief Nnanna had arrived with his kinsmen, bringing crates of palm wine, baskets of kola nuts, tubers of yam, goats bleating loudly, and even a motorcycle gleaming under the sun, a gift to impress and silence any doubt. The villagers gathered in awe. No one in Yumuk had ever seen such wealth displayed for a bride price. Children ran around the goats, laughing, while women clapped at the sight of the palm wine stacked high. Chief Nnanna stepped into the compound, his agbada flowing around him like a river of white. Gold rings shone on his fingers, and his walking stick glittered with brass. Though his beard was gray and his belly round, he walked with the confidence of a man who believed everything had a price. "Greetings, my in-laws," he boomed, raising his hands. "Today, I have come to honor the daughter of this great house. Amarachi will not just be a wife. She will be the jewel of my household. No woman in this land will live in greater comfort." The elders nodded, their eyes shining at the display of wealth. They began the traditional rituals. The kola nut was broken, palm wine was poured, and blessings were invoked for the union. But as the celebration went on, Amarachi's heart pounded. She sat inside, listening to the drums and the laughter, knowing her fate was being sealed outside. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps at her window made her jump. "Amara," a whisper came. It was Obinna. Her heart leapt. She rushed to the window, clutching the wooden frame. "Obinna, what are you doing here? If they see you—" "I don't care," he cut her off, his eyes blazing. "I will not stand by while they sell you like yam. Tonight, after the ceremony, meet me by the big Odu tree at the edge of the forest. We must run away before it is too late." Amarachi's lips parted, her breath catching. "Run away? Leave everything behind. Her family, her people, her land? Could she do it? Before she could answer, her mother entered the hut. Obinna ducked away, disappearing into the bushes. Amarachi, Mama Ifeoma said sharply. They are calling for you. The time has come for you to greet your suitor. Amarachi's knees trembled as she rose. The sound of drums grew louder, and voices filled the compound. She stepped out, and the crowd gasped. Her beauty, wrapped in a red and white wrapper with beads around her neck, shone brighter than the midday sun. Even the women whispered that Chief Nnanna had indeed chosen a rare jewel. Chief Nnanna smiled proudly, his gold teeth flashing. He raised a calabash of palm wine and called out, "Amarachi, my wife-to-be, take this drink and show everyone that you accept me as your husband." The crowd clapped, the elders leaned forward, and all eyes turned to Amarachi. Her hands shook as she held the calabash. Her heart screamed Obinna's name, but her father's stern gaze cut into her soul like a knife. "Drink it, my daughter," Matsi Okafor commanded, his voice heavy with finality. The world seemed to spin. Amarachi stared at the palm wine, tears filling her eyes. Slowly, she lifted it, but just as the cup touched her lips, a voice thundered across the compound. "Stop!" Gasps filled the air as Obinna pushed his way into the gathering. His wrapper was dusty, his chest bare, but his eyes burned with fire. "This marriage cannot happen," he declared. "Amarachi is mine, and I will not stand by while she is forced into another man's house." The compound erupted in chaos. Women screamed, men shouted, and Matsi Okafor's staff struck the ground with fury. "You dare," he bellowed. "You, a worthless palm wine tapper, dare to challenge me and my household." Chief Nnanna's face darkened with rage. "Boy, do you value your life? Leave now, before I crush you like an ant." But Obinna stood tall, his voice unwavering. "A man's worth is not in his wealth, but in his heart. Amarachi belongs to me, not to your gold or your goats." Amarachi's tears spilled freely, her heart torn between fear and hope. The elders tried to calm the storm, but the tension was like a fire ready to burn down the entire village. And in that moment, Amarachi realized that her life would never again be the same. Whether she chose to obey her father or follow Obinna, the tears of the bride price would fall like rain. The compound of Matsi Okafor had never seen such chaos. The drums that once beat joyfully now hung silent, the dancers frozen, the villagers murmuring in disbelief. At the center of it all stood Obinna, chest heaving, eyes locked on Amarachi, who held the untouched calabash of palm wine in trembling hands. Matsi Okafor's voice roared like thunder, "Seize him." Two strong men leapt forward, grabbing Obinna by the arms. He struggled, but their grip was iron. Dust rose as the crowd surged, everyone trying to catch a glimpse of the drama unfolding before their eyes. Some whispered that Obinna was foolish to challenge the chief, while others admired his courage. Chief Nnanna stepped forward, his agbada swaying, his face dark with fury. "Release him to me," he commanded. "A boy like this must be taught a lesson. How dare he insult me in front of my people?" "No!" Amarachi cried out, dropping the calabash to the ground. The palm wine spilled into the dust like wasted tears. She rushed forward, standing between Obinna and the chief, her body trembling. The crowd gasped. Women covered their mouths. The elders shook their heads. A daughter challenging her father's will was unheard of in Yumyuk. "Papa, please," Amarachi cried, her voice breaking. "Do not force me into this marriage. My heart is not with Chief Nnanna. It belongs to Obinna. You say a bride prices honor, but what honor is there in selling me like yam? What joy will you gain if your daughter dies in sorrow?" Matsi Okafor's staff trembled in his hand. His face was hard, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of doubt. He had not expected Amarachi to defy him so openly. "Silence, Amarachi," he barked, though his voice was not as steady as before. "You speak like a foolish child. A woman does not choose. Her family chooses for her. This is our way." Obinna, though held tightly, lifted his voice. "Matsi Okafor, I may be poor, But I love your daughter with all my heart. Give me time, and I will prove myself. I will work day and night until I can pay her bride price with my sweat, not with stolen wealth. Do not let gold blind you to what truly matters." The villagers murmured louder. Some nodded in agreement, others shook their heads. Chief Nnanna, however, was not a man to be challenged. He lifted his walking stick and pointed at Obinna. "This one is a boy with no respect for elders. If you allow him to speak, soon every poor man will think he can claim the daughters of great families. I demand justice. Either she drinks the palm wine now, or I take back every gift I brought, and your family will live in shame forever." His words struck like thunder. The elders shifted uneasily. To return the bride price was to bring disgrace upon the Okafor family. Amarachi fell to her knees before her father, her tears soaking the dust. "Papa, my life is in your hands. If you give me to Chief Nnanna, I will not live long. My heart will wither. But if you let me be with Obinna, even in poverty, I will be happy." Is that not what a father should want for his child? Her cries pierced the air. Even Mama Ifeoma wept silently, though she dared not speak against her husband. The silence stretched, heavy as stone. All eyes turned to Matsi Okafor, the decision resting on his lips. At last he struck his staff against the ground. "Enough! Amarachi, you shame me before my people. You dare to reject wealth and honor for the sake of a poor man? So be it. If you choose Obinna, you will leave my house this very night. You will have no share in my wealth, no blessing for me. You will carry your poverty as your husband carries his raffia palm wine." The crowd erupted in shock. Amarachi's chest tightened, but her heart knew the answer even before her lips moved. She rose slowly, her tears glistening in the sun. Turning to Obinna, she whispered, "I choose you." Gasps filled the air. Women cried, men shook their heads, and Chief Nnanna's face turned purple with rage. With a furious wave of his hand, he stormed out of the compound, his kinsmen gathering their gifts in silence. The goats bleated as they were dragged away, the palm wine crates carried off. The sound of retreating footsteps echoed like drums of shame. But Amarachi did not care. She ran to Obinna, throwing her arms around him. He held her tightly, his heart pounding with relief and love. Matsi Okafor turned away, his face carved in stone. "From today, you are no longer my daughter. Go with your palm wine tapper. May your tears teach you what wisdom could not." Mama Ifeoma sobbed openly now, torn between her husband's word and her daughter's happiness. She hugged Amarachi one last time, whispering, "Go, my child. May the gods guide you." And so, under the gaze of the entire village, Amarachi left her father's house, her hand clasped in Obinna's. The path ahead was uncertain, but her heart was free. The days that followed were not easy. Obinna's hut was small, his harvests meager, and many nights they went to bed with little food. Yet Amarachi found joy in the simple things, the laughter they shared, the songs they sang, the love that grew stronger each day. She worked beside him in the fields, carrying firewood, fetching water, and weaving mats to sell in the market. Though the village mocked her at first, calling her foolish for leaving wealth behind, over time, their whispers softened. They saw how Obinna treated her, with respect, with tenderness, with a love that no gold could buy. And slowly, their laughter turned into quiet admiration. Years later, when Obinna's hard work bore fruit, when his palm wine business grew, when he bought land, when he built a fine house, those same villagers who once mocked them now spoke of their story with awe. But for Amarachi, the true wealth was not in the land or the house. It was in the man who had chosen to fight for her, the man who proved that love was worth more than any bride price. And though the scars of her father's rejection never fully healed, Amarachi carried no regret. She had learned that the price of love was not counted in goats or gold, but in courage, sacrifice, and tears. The bride price had brought sorrow, but it also gave birth to a love that endured forever. And whenever Amarachi sat under the moonlight, listening to the distant beat of drums, she would smile through her tears, whispering, Love is the only true wealth.